So I usually train on Tuesday morning, resistance training. I lift around 6 o'clock, 6:30. But since I'm fasting Ramadan right now, getting there early in the morning just wouldn't work. So I'm having to shift it and do it this evening. And to be honest with you, I really don't feel like going. And if it wasn't for the fact that I've got this tournament that I got to do in April, man, I wouldn't go tonight. The Alchemy of Struggle. Why did I call this channel The Alchemy of Struggle? It's the change that you go through any kind of a struggle, right? Usually on the other side of a struggle is something extraordinary. But the ironic thing is that nowadays it's like, man, we go out of our way to avoid struggle. Was this channel about Jiu-Jitsu? Yes. But Jiu-Jitsu as a vehicle for growth through struggle. And that's what Jiu-Jitsu is. It's a tool for growth and expansion. And now I have the ultimate struggle. Fasting during the month of Ramadan while trying to keep up with training for a tournament that is a week after Ramadan. And it just feels like there's something extraordinary on the other side of that. Not a prize, not a medal, but growth, expansion. A struggle like what you can get in Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, it's such a representation of what life itself is like. You can spend years working on a technique. It took me years to properly understand the mechanics of a head and arm choke. I remember once, and I have it on video. Maybe I'll show that on this channel one day. I struggled for a full hour in a training session, trying to properly do a head and arm choke. It got to the point where I completely tired myself out. I wore myself out. And I gave up on it. I said, you know what, I'll just have to return to it. Again, I kept trying and trying. Finally, I think it was last year, one of the brown belts, he's looking at me trying to do this. He's like, hey man, you need to adjust your hand. Just turn your hand this way. I made that slight adjustment. I mean, it was literally an adjustment of a few inches. And now I go for that thing almost every roll. Man, you could be working on something years and years and years and see no progress. And then all of a sudden, man, the planets just align. Someone comes along, gives you just the right tip, or you discover just the most minute of details. And it makes all the difference in the world. And when you're finally able to pull it off, it's amazing what it does to your mind and what it does to your body. That's what I mean by the alchemy of struggle. And in Jiu-Jitsu, there is a literal physical change. The body changes. One of the OG black belts, OG American black belts, Chris Howder, he talks about this. As someone starts going through their purple belt, you start to see a change. There's a physical change, but there's also a psychological change. But it's true for struggles in life in general. If we dare to step on the mat, literally and metaphorically. All right, enough for all this philosophical mumbo jumbo. It's time to go get it. So normally, I do this workout on Tuesday morning. But with Ramadan and all, that's not really an option. I was supposed to be in bed at 10:30 last night. Instead, I went to bed at midnight. Man, I'm telling you, look, man, it's true what they say. You are today because of the decisions that you made yesterday. And so going to bed last night at midnight, man, it really threw me off. But I got to keep up the resistance training to minimize the loss of muscle and strength while I'm fasting for this 30 days. Now, typically, when I'm getting close to a tournament, when I'm like about 4 weeks out, I stop lifting heavy weights. I stop lifting weights altogether. I focus just on training. I still do resistance training, but it's like, you know, pull-ups, push-ups, body weight squats, stuff like that. And I start focusing more on just, you know, tightening up my game plan, tightening up my technique, getting in more rolls, getting in more rounds, getting that what Keenan Cornelius calls cardio confidence, that you have the cardio to do several matches. I know people call this discipline. I remember years ago, a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, he commented on my training regimen. He says, man, you're so disciplined with your training. And one of my training partners said something similar recently. Now, when my friend said this years ago, I was kind of confused at first because I took it as a strange comment. I kind of remained silent for a few minutes while I thought about what he said. And then I said to him, I said, you know, to be honest with you, I can't really accept your compliment because it's not really discipline. I would love to say I'm this highly disciplined person, and I guess on some level I am, but I told him what you see me doing, I can't take credit for it being disciplined. Well, after you've done something so much for so many years, at some point, it ceases being discipline and it just becomes habit. Discipline is doing something you don't want to do, even though you know you have to do it. Or as I've heard it described before, discipline is doing the thing that you don't like to do, but as if you like doing it. But when I get up and I go to jiu-jitsu or going to the gym, that's not discipline to me. Man, that's just a habit. It's a part of who I am. You want to get to the point where you do something so much that it's just a habit. And not doing it feels weird. And eventually it just becomes almost like your character. You got to do the thing, man. You just got to do the thing over and over and over and over again. What I mean by the alchemy of struggle, it creates something completely new, completely transforms a person. And I'm looking for a real transformation after this 30 days of fasting, as I do every year. But I'm looking for something really special after this one. I'm gonna go in here, get a decent training session, and then go home and have some fajitas, man. Steak fajitas. That's what we're having for iftar tonight. All right, that was hard. I'm glad I made it, but that workout was tough. So the workout that I did this evening, I'm not a CrossFitter, but I do like a lot of the CrossFit workouts. And there's a few of them that I find to be really effective, and so I program them into my watch. One of those workouts of the day, or WODs, is the Cindy. The Cindy is what's called an AMRAP, as many rounds as possible in 20 minutes. 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 bodyweight squats. Normally when I do this, I mean, I'm running through that workout like 20 minutes, and I'm like, boom, boom, boom. Very little, just enough rest in between rounds just to catch my breath, and then I'm right back on it. Man, I jumped on that pull-up bar. I went to do the first pull-up, and holy crap, man, it felt different. It was immediately obvious that my body was tired. I didn't go at my normal pace. I slowed way down. So my pull-ups are like full dead hang pull-ups, all the way down, all the way up. So I went all the way down, all the way up, really slow, really deliberate. Did my 10 push-ups, kind of slow and steady. And then the same thing with my air squat, my bodyweight squats. I finished up with about 10 minutes on the assault bike, a very moderate, easy level. Then I hopped in the sauna for like 23 minutes or something like that. It's like, I know it's crazy that I'm doing this. Man, you're like 55. Just chill, man. Just chill. But I can't. I can't just chill. There's just something in me that I just gotta push myself. Pounding on that lead, man. In search of the gold on the other end. Man, there's a lot in that metaphor. If you can like turn struggle or overcoming struggle or overcoming, man, if you can turn that into a habit, man, holy crap, watch out world. So I could have just stayed home, watched TV. I could have eaten my entire day's worth of calories at dinner time and then followed it up with donuts and cookies. But I ate 3 dates, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and a 22-ounce bottle of electrolyte water. And I went to the gym. I'm tired. I am absolutely exhausted. But I feel fantastic. That's the alchemy. If you want to talk about struggle, I have a presentation that I'm supposed to give to the CIO, my CIO, on Friday, 3 days from now. And check this out. It's scheduled for the absolute worst time. This thing is scheduled for 3 o'clock p.m. Man, when I am fasting, by 3 o'clock p.m., I am cognitively spent. All I can think about at 3 o'clock is just resting. And I could say, hey guys, can we reschedule? You know, I'm fasting and this and that. But I'm not one of these people who like to go, hey man, I'm fasting. You know, no, it's like, when you're fasting, it's like, people shouldn't know. They shouldn't be able to tell. It's like that story of Jesus in the Bible where he criticizes people who were fasting. And they were like, you know, putting on old, dirty clothes, not washing their faces. They wanted people to know, they wanted people to see them that they were fasting, that they were struggling in their fast, right? And he was like, no, man, put on clean clothes and wash your face. Go about your day normally and perform. But there's alchemy there, man. There's something extraordinary on the other side of that. I may not even realize it for years, but it's like an investment. We just keep adding input and input and input and input. And eventually the investment pays off, man. That's the alchemy of struggle. And now it's time to eat.